We both grew up in Northern California, in Santa Rosa.
We met at church. She was in junior high and I was in high school. We were in youth group together. I was the immature one. She was the mature one in the group. And started dating shortly after I started college, and she was still in high school. One of my earliest memories as a kid is going to the Pepperdine USF basketball game to watch the Waves play. We went every year when they were in town, and so it was always a goal to go to Pepperdine someday, but I was a football player and there was no football at Pepperdine at that time. I played at Abilene Christian from '85 to '89, was a quarterback and a place kicker. I can think back to my senior year, and that was the point at which I thought, maybe law school. I was a finance major and thought, maybe this is what I was made to do. And then I came out and visited Pepperdine, and as a result applied to only one law school.
As Jim was looking into the law school here, and I was looking to transfer from Abilene Christian out to a school in California, we just applied, and I received a lot of great scholarships and was able to come to Pepperdine that way. So it was a big blessing for me to be able to come here. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college, so Pepperdine completely changed the trajectory of my life. And I knew from the age of about 15 I wanted to be a school teacher. Pepperdine gave me that opportunity to study science with Christian professors, and so it strengthened my faith as I learned more about science, and then to become a teacher was just a dream come true.
We got married in 1990, right after I finished undergraduate at Abilene Christian, and after Joline's sophomore year at Abilene Christian. When we came, and really my first semester of law school, I thought, wow, this is what I was made to do. This is what I want to do. And over the course of my 3 years of law school, I talked to as many people who would listen to me, and I asked, what is it that I would need to do in order to be considered to be a faculty member here at Pepperdine? And then I went out and set out and tried to do all of those things. And fortunately, after 6 years of practicing law, the opportunity to return to Pepperdine to be a professor came up. And it was only one law school I applied to go to law school, only one law school I applied to teach. This is where we knew we were supposed to be. What drew us here to Pepperdine was the opportunity to engage in the lives of students. And so that is probably, I would say, our deepest passion, individually and collectively. The opportunity to get to know students inside the classroom, outside the classroom, inside my office, inside our home, was something that really fulfilled us on a daily basis.
And getting engaged with the church on campus was really important to us. That was, the University Church of Christ was our church as students, and then as we became parents and raised our children in that church, and so there were many opportunities to engage with students fully in all aspects, and so that's been a big part of our time here at Pepperdine.
I started going to Africa in 2010, and my first trip was to a Ugandan juvenile prison, and met some kids there that had been imprisoned for a couple of years without any access to justice. And I remember thinking, someone's got to do something about this. But I knew it wasn't going to be me, because this was my one and done voluntourism trip. But then I got to know these kids, and I remember thinking about those in the Bible who were in prison and felt like they didn't have hope, and just saw the faith that they still had, the belief that God was still walking with them and that God would deliver them, and felt like maybe we are supposed to be the tools of delivery for that. I went once, and that once turned into a relationship with one of the prisoners who I wanted to fight for his freedom, and then that turned into a relationship with a couple members of the judiciary, which turned into a relationship with a country, which turned into us moving there, which turned into a lifelong investment in a country we love, and has loved my family.
We always had hoped and prayed that our kids would want to come to Pepperdine, but as parents we know if you tell your kids something, they're going to want to do the opposite. And so we just kept encouraging them to really look at their options and pray about where God was leading them to go. But really wanted them to be here.
Yeah, we told them it was completely up to them. Whatever they wanted to do, we would support them on that. The fact that they wanted to stay close to home and to experience all that Pepperdine had to offer we were thrilled. I would say the impact that Pepperdine's had on us is it's given us kind of purpose. It's given a texture to the idea of vocation. What is it that we're called to do in this world? You know, we're called to love each other, we're called to serve, but what's the context that would come in? And for us, this is what we're supposed to do. How do we get back to be who we're supposed to be, but to do so in a place where it strengthens students for leadership, gives them an opportunity to serve while they're here. It gives them a purpose in life. It gives them the tools to succeed, not just financially, not just academically, but as leaders in their community. And for us to be able to now be part of that in this context is such an exciting thing for us. The fact that I will be the first Pepperdine graduate to become president is an honor, and it's something that I've thought about as this process unfolded. To be the first person who has actually gone through this as a student, who understands it from the inside out, and to appreciate what it means to be a student, and then to be a professor as well. I think it's really important in the life cycle of an institution to be able to get to a place where it's matured enough to hire its own, and I'm grateful to be in the middle of that.
The joy that we can do this as a team is really exciting for both of us, and I just think it's a huge honor to be able to serve my alma mater. I never would have dreamed that we would get to do this job, and so I'm just really excited.
Yeah, the three most important things in my life are my faith, my family, and Pepperdine. I'm not looking for this to be about Jim, I'm looking for it to be about Pepperdine. But if Pepperdine can continue the trajectory that it's been on under my leadership, then I will feel like I've done my job.